Hello, and welcome back to another episode of our car camping series. We are currently showing you how we're building our platform for our car. And if you haven't already, go and make sure you watch episode 1. That is where we went shopping for all the materials, and I show you everything that we bought so you know exactly what we're using in this episode. I'm really excited for this video because we're going to show you step by step of how we put the platform together, and we definitely learned a lot. And so we're excited to share with you things that you should and you shouldn't do when building your platform. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All that I know is they'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
So for those of you who are new, the plan that we have for the platform is to have the 2 long pieces cut in half. And that way we can stack them on top of each other and still have access to the back seats. And then we can extend it, and we're going to be using drop pins to keep everything in place when we need to use it as a bed. All right, we're seeing, what are we doing, Luke? Oh yeah, we want to be able to store this underneath the platform. Yeah, that looks good. And it fits with the seats up too.
Yeah, and this should be able to fit over it. Right.
Perfect! Yay!
Yeah.
Good job!
Well, we haven't built anything yet, but at least...
Yeah, but the measurements are right!
So when we put these down, this should be able to slide forward, rest on the 2x4 there, and rest here, and have us a nice little platform to sleep on.
Beautiful. We knew that we were going to need some extra help to make this project a little bit easier, and we are so blessed because Luke's grandparents just live down the street from us where we go to school. And so we took the car over there and we were explaining the platform and what we wanted the setup to look like. And we were really lucky because he had a lot of the tools that would make this process so much quicker that we don't have anything. So we definitely needed his help. For example, I was sanding everything down by hand, which, as you can imagine, was taking a very long time. But his grandpa had an electric sander, which I was very grateful for because that made the process so much easier just from the very first step. And so we got everything sanded down and ready to go. And then Luke started measuring out where we wanted to put the 2x4s. We wanted to make sure that it was tall enough to fit the storage bins underneath, and also that they were far enough apart so that we could fit it in the middle. But we also needed to keep in mind that we needed it to be secure enough to hold our weight, and so we couldn't have it too far apart. So Luke and his grandpa were discussing the best placements for the 2x4s just so that everything was secure but also allowed for the storage underneath. Another thing that we did to make sure that it was even more secure was use the extra wood and kind of sandwich in the 2x4s. And so basically the 2x4s would be screwed into the foundation piece and then also screwed into the bed part of the platform. That way the 2x4s weren't just open and the bottoms weren't just digging into the bed of our car. It would make it a lot more secure, and it would also level out and spread out the pressure from us laying on it. We ended up using 6 pieces of the 2x4s. We had 2 in the back and 2 in the middle and then 2 up front on the top, and we built them all the same. The only difference was the middle ones and the top ones, we included spaces for the drop pins. That way we could put the bolts in when we were laying on the platform, but then we could also remove it and slide the second half of the platform back to have access to the back seats. That way it wasn't permanent, which I'm so glad that we did, because that way we can use it functionally as a car if we aren't sleeping in it. Now you can see what I mean, how the 2x4 was sandwiched in with the plywood on both sides just to make sure it's extra secure. But once we got it out to the car, the next step was to figure out how we needed to cut the middle pieces, the middle 2x4s, due to the fact that when we put the seats down, it's slightly angled, and so the 2x4s in the middle needed to be cut at an angle to make sure the platform stayed flat. And so this was actually the hardest part for us, to figure out the best way to angle it and how to make sure everything was flat and sturdy. After spending a few hours working on this project, we decided to call it a night and come back the next day to finish everything. So I'm going to end the video here, but please make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to post the final video next week of the full build and us finishing everything and putting it all together. And I'm so excited for you to see the final product. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'm so grateful for all the support, and I hope that this works for your car and that you're inspired to go and travel, because that's my whole goal. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out, find my way